Hey there everyone, welcome back to part 2 of this travel junk journal series that I've been working on for a little while now. I am finally putting this book together. It's been a year since I got that cover, and so I'm super excited. As you saw in part 1, I've already selected my paper, so it's time for me to start cutting everything and organizing all the papers in the order that I want. And so to recap, I'm using 12 by 12 sheets of paper. And because I've decided to make, some of the pages 8 by 8, this is what you're seeing me do here. It's trimming the paper as 8 inches tall, leaving 12 inches wide. And then some of the pages I am scoring with this We Are Memory Keeper, what do we call these, embossing tool? I don't know, I forget what these are called, but it has a little bowl at the end that allows you to add a crease on your papers. And so I'm using that to score a line, and I'm deciding which papers I want to keep as 8 by 8. Some I'm switching to, I believe, 6 by 6. So for example, this one here, because the pattern is, it's got a certain order, I decided to trim a little bit from both edges so that I could only keep what I wanted. And so here, this one specifically, I am scoring at 6 by 6. And you see me folding it there. So some pages are 6 by 6 and other pages are 4 inches by 8 inches. So you will see that some of the pages are going to be kind of short and stubby, only 4 inches wide by 8 inches tall. So here I am deciding, because this is such a beautiful design, and I'm trying to decide what parts I want to keep and what parts I wanted to get rid of. So I do that through all of the papers, and I pay attention to the design and the pattern so that I don't cut them the wrong way. And so now I am organizing the way I want that signature to go. So I've decided to, because some of the papers are double-sided and some of the papers are single-sided, I'm kind of alternating. I'm putting some, I think I'm going with one double-sided, one single-sided, one double-sided, one single-sided, and so on and so on. Again, some of the pages I knew were going to be blank with the single-sided paper, and that's okay. And I'm also alternating which direction the papers are going to go. So let's say on the left side, I'm going to keep the 8 inches, and on the right, I'm going to keep the 4. And sometimes, if the pattern allows it, I flip it. So where the little short 4-inch stays on the left and the 8 inches go on the right. But at the same time, I am alternating those 6-inch by 6-inch papers. I'm also decided which patterns I want to go next to each other. So again, it's a beautiful collection, but just think about it when you do that. If they should all go together if you decide to make a junk journal using the same collection. So all the colors should match. So even though the patterns might be different, they still going to look very nice together. So I decided to arrange this signature, and you can see that the front of that one has a short one, and there's a blank, patterns, blank, and so on and so on. And so that is, now I'm going to the other side, and the pattern should repeat. And so again, this is to your own preference. I knew that this signature was going to go on the back, on the very last, because the long paper or the widest paper is on the back. So that would be like my last page. So again, I'm kind of going through the sheets, selecting what colors go well together, and selecting the single-sided and double-sided. So there, I've already trimmed everything. I paid attention to my patterns. And so this one here, I didn't want to cut the tags in right in the middle. So I decided to cut this one at a specific location. So this particular sheet ended up being much taller than the rest, and that is fine with me. Because again, I don't mind having different size papers amongst my pages. So again, when you're cutting your paper, make sure you know which direction would I want this to go. So I decided, okay, oh, I ended up trimming this little strip here. I forgot what they're called, the designer sheet strip or something like that. So I decided to make sure the pattern went in a specific direction. And so you can see here that the wider or the larger page, the 8x8, would go on the right, because I can't flip it because then the pattern would be upside down. And so again, same thing here. This pattern has to go in a certain direction. So I made sure I pay attention to that. Of course, I saved all those little pieces that I cut, all those 4 inches, 4-inch by 12-inch strips that you saw me pull to the side, because I will be using those to either add tip-ins or as part of my embellishing when it's time to work on my pages. Once again, with this next signature, I am deciding which ones I want to go together, and alternating between single-sided and double-sided pages. So one thing I need to clarify here, at the beginning I told you I was going to only create 2 signatures inside this junk journal, but as I put everything together and after putting these signatures here that you are watching me do, I realized that the spine of the book was so wide and there was so much space, so these 2 signatures were going to be not enough to fit inside or to fill up the spine of the book. So I ended up splitting what I have here, adding a few more sheets, and ended up with 3 signatures, and each of the signatures included 7 sheets. I am not going to worry about how chunky this journal is going to get, because I know I'm going to love it regardless. So I know that in the end, it was a much better decision to add that 3rd signature. So you guys, things like that happen, right? We're working and we change our minds, and I'm kind of glad that you get to see that, because that's okay. When we make journals like this is for our own. Now, if you make it for different people and maybe you have a Etsy shop or anything like that, that's a little different. But when you create books for yourself, the whole point is for you to be happy and for you to love what you have created. So that was definitely my idea and my inspiration in the direction that I headed when I started working with this junk journal. So I'm coming to the end here. I can't wait for you to keep going and see all the changes that I've made, because it is really fun. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next part.